like for me, it took a long time and some very honest conversations with like my manager back at the time, who was kind of like, Megan, you got to speak up. Like you're letting yourself down, you're holding yourself back from not kind of getting out there and promoting yourself a bit more, and yeah, just starting to feel comfortable with it. So I guess for me, I actually just started to get used to that feeling and just like, yep, I feel like I don't know much in this group of people, but guess what? I'm going to say something anyway. And I always think of, like, if I'm in that kind of situation, it's like, well, what's the worst that could happen here? Like, and generally in a workplace, people are professional, you're all adults, they're not going to like laugh and point at you or anything terrible like that at school, or at least if they do, that's kind of crappy. So yeah, I'd encourage you to just like try it.
I also think it's establishing relationships outside those meetings, right? Like if you are shy and stuff, it's about having one-on-ones with people, which generally people are more comfortable with, and then people know your skills. And so what happens is they'll be saying, oh, blah, blah said this or can contribute this. So there'll be somebody in that room often who will be a facilitator. And if you've spoken to them and they've heard your view, they'll involve you in those discussions as well. So I suppose if you're intimidated by that situation, take it outside and tackle them separately, and then they'll bring you into the discussion separately as well.
I'd also mention the diversity of thought here. So you are a phenomenal asset to have in that room. If everybody else comes from a design background, they're all going to be thinking in a really similar way. So having someone who understands the implications of a potential solution and what that could look like and the potential constraints there is a fantastic voice to have in the room. You are a huge asset to that team. Okay, it's gonna get personal. So boys, I'm really sorry about this. When I first started working in the industry, I was working in agency, and I'd go to meetups and I'd go to certain meetings, and I kind of came up with this phrase for certain situations that I'm in. Boys, I'm really sorry. So I call it dick on table. So you kind of go into these places and they're like, boom, here's my schlong, and my schlong's bigger than your schlong, and aren't I amazing, because look at my dick. And it's just like a bit weird. And so now when I'm about to go into those situations, I'm like, Georgie, dick on table, dick on table, dick on table. And I kind of like psych myself up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go in and I'm going to show them my fucking awesome, massive cock. So I just give yourself that pep talk before you go into the meeting and you'll be fine.
I think a woman that I worked for early in my career, she's fantastic, and she's this little fiery redhead lady, and she's similar to and she's not English, she's American. But one of the best things that she ever did was, because it was like when I started out, I was at Ernst & Young, very male dominated, really, all the rest of it. And we went into this meeting, and I remember we had to wear suits back then all the time. And I remember she walked in and she had a pair of underpants over her suit pants, and I was like, what the hell is she doing? Like, she was a bit crazy. And she had a pair of billiard balls down the front of it, and she reached down and she got them out and she slammed them on the table, and she said, let's put our balls on the table, guys. And like this, and I was like, oh my God. And she was my manager, and I was like, oh my God, here we go. And there was just silence, and she kind of then nobody said anything, and then they just moved on like nothing had happened. But it's one of those things, years later I could bring up that, and this blush just rises up her cheek. She never gets embarrassed, but that's the one time that she remembers. But she was like just so sick of that situation, and she did something that she was just thought, right, this will shock the hell out of them. I wish she had told me beforehand. I was like, Jesus.